Thomas the Tank Engine was feeling bright and cheerful. It was a splendid day. Good morning, he whistled to some cows, but the cows didn't Never mind, said Thomas. They're busy with their breakfast.
Breakfast!
Next, he saw Bertie. Hello, Bertie. Care for a race today? But all Bertie could say was...
No. No. Why? Take that.
Bad, he grumbled. Percy goes to work at the harbor and I do his job. Here, there, and everywhere. Take that. Oh, groaned the freight cars. Just you wait. We'll show you. Gordon laughed. I'll tell you what, James. If you pretended to be ill everywhere, you couldn't shunt freight cars here or go to the quarry there, could you?
No.
What a good idea, agreed James. Look, here comes Thomas. I'll start pretending now. Thomas was sorry to see the engines looking miserable. Cheer up, Huff. It's a beautiful day. Yes, grumbled Gordon, but not for James. What's the matter? Asked Thomas. He's sick, replied Gordon. Yes, he is. I mean, I am, stuttered James. I don't feel well at all. Don't worry, said Thomas kindly. I'll help out if you're ill. Gordon and James snickered quietly to each other. Some of James's cars were coupled behind Thomas and he steamed away to the quarry. The cars were still cross. We couldn't pay James back for bumping us, so we'll play tricks on Thomas instead. One engine is as good as another. But Thomas didn't hear them. He collected all the stone from the quarry and set off back to the... all about it. That's strange, said Edward. A car full of tar has been left at my station. That must be it. Driver will make sure it gets... But Thomas didn't hear them. He collected all... Gets to Bertie now. Later, James spoke to Thomas. I'm sorry about your accident, he muttered, and so is Gordon. We didn't mean to get you into trouble. No, indeed, spluttered Gordon. A mere misunderstanding, Thomas. All's well that ends well. Just then, Bertie arrived. He looked much more cheerful. My road's being mended now. Oh, I am glad, replied Thomas. Thanks for all you did, added Bertie. Now I know I can trust an engine, especially if his name is Thomas. Gordon and James puffed silently away to the shed. But Thomas still had company. Well, he sighed. What a day for surprises. The toad, who was looking forward to a ride home, noisily agreed. One morning, Thomas was being cleaned when Gordon arrived. Mud had blown all over his smart blue... Mud had blown all over... James got ready to take the express when Gordon returned. Be careful, warned Gordon. The hills are slippery. You may need help. I don't need help on hills, replied James. Help on hills, replied James huffily. Gordon thinks he knows everything. Earlier, a storm had swept Gordon's hill, blowing leaves onto the tracks, which made them slippery. Even though the storm had passed, the hill was still difficult to climb. James knew this. The signal showed clear, and James began to go faster. I'll do it, he puffed. Halfway up, he was not so sure. I must do it, but his wheels slipped on the leaves. He couldn't pull the train at all. Help, whistled James. His wheels were turning forward, by appearance, like fussy tank engines do. The wind blew stronger. Gordon, slow down, called his driver. This made Gordon crosser still. Now I'll be dirty and late, he hissed. At the next station was a sign. Gordon saw everything. Ah, well, we live and learn. Never mind, little James. I'm going to push behind. Clouds of smoke and steam billowed from the snorting engines as they struggled up the hill. We can do it, puffed James. We will do it, puffed Gordon. At last, they reached the top. Beep, beep. Thank you, goodbye, whistled James. Boop, boop, answered Gordon. Goodbye. That night, Sir Topham Hatt came to see the engines. Gordon was miserable. Please, sir, said Thomas, can Gordon pull coaches again now?
No.
If you understand that having a washdown is essential to every engine. A famous machine. But no one heard but him.
The end.
Henry, James, and Gordon were miserable. They had been shut up for several days for being naughty and longed to be let out again. At last, Sir Topham Hatt arrived. I hope you are sorry, he said, and that you understand that every job on the railway is important. We have a new tank engine who helps... Next, Edward took some empty cars to the quarry. Percy was left alone. He didn't mind that a bit. He liked watching trains and being cheeky to the other engines. Hurry, 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 he would call, and they got very cross. Forgot him. Percy waited and waited. The switch was still against him, so he couldn't move. Then he looked along the main line. Beep, beep! He whistled in horror, for rushing straight toward him was Gordon with the express. Percy opened his eyes. Gordon had stopped with Percy's buffers just a few inches from his own. But Percy had begun to move. I won't stay here. I'll run away, he puffed. He went straight through Edward Station and was so frightened that he ran right up Gordon's hill without stopping. Tired, but he couldn't stop. He had no driver to shut off steam and apply the brakes. I want to stop! I want to stop! He puffed. The man in the signal box saw Percy was in trouble, so he kindly set the switch. Percy puffed wearily onto a nice empty siding, ending in a big bank of earth. He was too tired now to care. Never mind, Percy, said the workman as they dug him out. The two engines are now good friends, but Percy is always most careful when he goes out on the main line.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
He went straight through Edward Station and was so frightened that he ran right up Gordon's hill without stopping. But he couldn't stop. He had no driver to shut off steam and apply the brakes. One day, Percy arrived at the quarry to collect some stone for his freight cars. Snow and frost lay everywhere. There was not a sound to be heard. Percy ventured further. He found Mavis, the new diesel engine, resting in the shelter of some rocks. Cheer up, Mavis, he whistled. Mavis was still remembering the trouble she'd had with cars. A few days later, the weather changed. As the snow melted, the quarry grew busy again. Some trains were so long that before leaving the cars for Toby, Mavis had to go beyond the level crossing with him. Now for her plan. She would go further down the line without it seeming her fault. Can you keep a secret? She asked the freight cars. Yes, they chattered. Will you bump me at the level crossing and tell no one I asked you? The cars promised. But while Mavis was away, Toby arrived. He decided to shunt the cars himself. The cars decided to bump him anyway. They reached the level crossing and Toby's brakes came on. This was the signal for the freight cars. On, they yelled. Toby was away, with the cars screaming and yelling behind him. No one realized that melted snow had turned a stream ahead into a torrent, and the bridge above it was about to collapse. The rails were now like a tightrope across the thundering water. Stop! Stop! Cried Toby. His driver fought for control. They came nearer and nearer to the bridge. It was all or nothing now. The driver braked hard. Toby stopped, still on the rails, but with his wheels treading the tightrope over the abyss. Mavis was horrified and quickly came to the rescue. Workmen anchored Toby with ropes while she pulled the freight cars away. Then she helped Toby to safety. I'm sorry about the cars, said Mavis. I can't think how you managed to stop them in time. Oh, well, said Toby. My driver told me about circus people who walk tightropes, but I just didn't fancy doing it myself. Later, Sir Topham had arrived. A very smart piece of work, he said. Mavis, you did well, too, I hear. It was my fault about those cars, sir, she faltered. But if I could what? Come down the line sometimes, sir? Toby says he'll show me what to do. Certainly.
No. Wait, how did you get here?
As happy as can be, and Sir Topham Hatt thinks she's really useful indeed.